So Jackson Hinkle went on OAN, a right-wing network, to talk about MAGA communism. Now, there's some confusion surrounding what this MAGA communism means. People think, Trump is right-wing, and you call yourself a communist, you can't support Trump. How is this compatible with communism? Well, understand, it's not about Trump, it's about the movement. In 2016, Trump ran against Hillary Clinton, and he was unable to call out the failings of neoliberalism. He was able to win votes from people in the Rust Belt states that lost their factory jobs due to neoliberal globalization. And many of the people who voted for Trump are actually left-wing and would fit into the proletariat just fine, because they support universal health care, they support ending the wars, they support ending debt slavery, they support pulling out of NATO, things that the elected Democrat shitlibs and people who represent them, the media personalities that represent them, do not support. So here we see Jackson Hinkle bringing his left-wing ideology of communism to OAN, a right-wing network. Let's take a look.
Joining me now to discuss this more, host of The Dive with Jackson Hinkle on YouTube, the man himself, Jackson Hinkle. Jackson, it's great to have you on the program. Welcome to In Focus. I came across you most recently with the trending hashtag MAGA communism. Now, a lot of people are going to hear that hashtag, MAGA communism, and be a little bit confused. So I'm going to let you explain what that means, because I don't think you're a communist, Jackson.
Well, I actually am a communist, but at the end of the day, communists have a lot of the same goals as working class Americans made up in the MAGA movement. We want more prosperity for average Americans. We want to end big tech. We want to end big agriculture, big pharma. We want to stop the monopolies and the subsidization of monopolies all across America. And we want to reinstill patriotic education in this country. We don't want open borders. We don't want, a green fascist push amongst our people. These aren't things that we support because we are average Americans as well. And the synthetic leftists today, the Democratic Party and the so-called progressives, they're far close, though they might call themselves socialists, they're far closer aligned with, the quote-unquote national socialists in Nazi Germany than any sort of, socialism that we see unfolding of true industrialization in, say, China today or the Soviet Union. And though, average Americans can have many disputes and concerns over the Soviet Union or China today, we have to recognize that these are two countries that chose industrialization over the World Economic Forum path today that's pushing depopulation and degrowth. So we as communists want to unite with MAGA voters and finish the job of Donald Trump, which is, uprooting liberalism from America and getting the globalists out of the MAGA movement, because there's so many globalists that are trying to co-opt the MAGA movement and bring about neoconservatism in the MAGA movement. We need to do away with that. We need to do away with people like John Bolton and Mike Pompeo and make sure that this is truly a working class movement.
Now, Jackson, I'm going to push back just a little bit, because you and I, it sounds like, agree on a whole slew of things. I despise big pharma. I despise big tech. I despise the deep state regime. But where's the differentiation here is, I would consider myself a conservative populist. And it sounds like, the views that you're espousing definitely fall in that line. So what makes you a communist specifically?
Well, first of all, communism and Marxism historically has always been conservative. It's a new era of communism in the West that claims to be adherent to these liberal leftist values. So this is not true Marxism. This is Marxism funded by George Soros, and they're trying to take away what Marxism actually means for the American people. Marxism does reflect, a populist worldview. It is communism. It's common tradition. These are the things that we should be supporting. Viewing the world through the lens of dialectical materialism. And at the end of the day, it means securing a future that is worth living in. And the only way we can do that is by combating these major institutions, the monopolies, Wall Street, the City of London, and telling them that we are not for sale. You cannot own us. You cannot own our country. Our country is for us, and accelerating, productive growth in this very country. And that's something that the Democratic Party and the Rhino conservatives stand in the way of doing. They're telling us that we are going to own nothing and be happy. I mean, that's just insane. They want to govern us through debt slavery. We need to fight back against that. And that's why I think that communists who support growth, who support industrialization in the hands of workers rather than major monopolies who are stealing our, wealth from us, can unite with MAGA voters on.
So Jackson, I think the point that I disagree with here is, with the whole point, you're going to own nothing and be happy. That is the globalist goal. That also does fall under the umbrella of communism when you trace it throughout its history. I don't remember any communist regime that's actually had the workers in control of the goods and services of the country or of their nation.
American Marxism and communism is going to be based on a rich history of labor struggles within the United States. And we do have that. The globalists and the liberals are trying to erase that rich history of labor struggles from within our own borders. But we need to actually unite behind that, learn that history, and recognize that we have to take power in our own hands. Communists today in America don't support the eradication of, say, private property or anything like that. What we support is more growth, more wealth, more businesses for the people, until we reach a point where we have, economic prosperity for all. So, again, the word communism has been so muddied by liberals today and by people like George Soros, because what they don't want is communists, left-wing populists, right-wing populists uniting on common issues to fight back against the deep state. And that's why MAGA communism has been trending on Twitter for like a week now. It's absolutely insane.
You're an interesting guy, Jackson. I really enjoyed this discussion.
They want to smear Jackson Hinkle. They want you to think he's a grifter. They want you to think that there's no way you can promote communist values to right-wingers. Well, you can. This movement is happening. This is a working class movement of people from all walks of life, from all different backgrounds, of workers fighting for their own sovereignty, fighting against the elites, the globalists, and NATO. And they're fighting to take America back from these elites. And anyone who tells you otherwise is a DNC, NATO, CIA-funded shitlib, funded by George Soros. So, there you have it.